Shakespeare wrote, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts." I'm Robert Beath, and for 14 years I played the parts of drama teacher and director of theater at Seaholm High School from 1969 to 1983. It was my first teaching position. When I entered the Little Theater for my first time, I was only 22 years old. The theater looked almost brand new, and to me it looked like a jewel box, clean, lovely, and intimate. I saw that it was a good training theater for 14 to 18-year-olds. It would give them a manageable space they could operate with confidence and allow them to demonstrate their technical and artistic skills and knowledge. Mr. Richard Anderson accepted the position of the technical director. I was then able to focus on the work of directing the actors. I needed to focus as I was only experienced in acting and I had lots to learn. Mr. A had directed before and helped me learn on the job. I was a hard worker and an enthusiastic learner. The two of us made a great team, and I will be ever indebted to his work in this theater. I felt like I'd won the lottery. With enthusiasm from the students, their willingness to accept the discipline of theater, their hard work, and putting blind faith in me, we began our journey. My directing debut was The Curious Savage. Here's an example of how inexperienced I was. In the middle of a rehearsal, about 3 days before we were to open, a cast member asked me, "Are we going to wear costumes in the play?" That shocked me. I hadn't even thought about costumes. After a long pause, I said, "Well, of course, what a good idea. We should look for costumes in the little closet on stage right." Fortunately, there were enough old clothes in there, including a tuxedo, that we found costumes for the characters. Lucky for me. From that play on, we had committee chairs for every aspect of the play, including costumes. Good news, the play was really well received by the audiences, and the costumes did look fine. Let me focus on the Little Theater itself. It was much the same then as it is today, but there were some things that needed to be addressed. Some things we couldn't change, like the location of the classroom/green room. The sets were mostly built on stage. There was very little storage backstage, and the bathrooms for 50 years have remained in the same awkward spots. If you were an actor or a backstage crew member, and we had an audience, those rooms were very hard to access with any grace. Let me describe what we could change. The stage floor is made of soft white pine. It was made knowing that nails would be driven into it to hold up flats and other stage platforms. When you remove the nail, the soft wood over time heals that hole. It was a lovely floor, and it was varnished with a high sheen gloss. One light would light up the entire space. The teasers and the tormentors were a light tan and also reflected light. Solutions? The floor was sanded, then painted flat black, and we were eventually able to buy new black curtains. Hence, it became possible to focus the audience's attention on actors, not the glare from the floor and the tan curtains. Now, look up at the ceiling lights. There are 2 short lighting rails, one house right and one house left. These were the only lights coming from the house. Nice, but you could not light the downstage center nor the apron properly. We added the long skinny rail between the other 2 and corrected these concerns. The jewel box was becoming more flexible. There was one other issue we couldn't control. Our performing artists and technical support members kept changing every year. The 18-year-olds kept graduating, and the 14-year-olds were brand new to the theater every year. Good news, collectively, all the students involved in the theater got better over the years, as they learned from the previous students what it takes to mount a quality performance. I'm guessing this is still the case today. There was one thing we could keep, but needed to improve over time: the director. Yes, me. I had to keep learning and growing and understanding what worked in the theater, but more importantly, what helped teenagers face the challenges of producing quality plays. To those ends, I never quit learning about the theater or teaching. I went back to school in the summers, and I took one school year off from teaching to earn a master's degree and eventually a PhD in theater. So I had more skills and knowledge to direct students. Honestly and happily, the students were my teachers too. They cared for me, talked to me, and shared their concerns and fears with me in an effort to help me work better with them. Through the years, we trusted one another and met our weaknesses and our successes together. Let me switch my focus. This is what a theater cannot do and can do. A theater cannot do anything by itself. It is a space frozen in time. A theater can only provide time and space. It is up to directors and actors to control the use of time and space to bring life and meaning to the script and to the audience. Bringing a script to life takes time: blocking, character development, learning and rehearsing lines, scene by scene, act by act, controlling the lights, controlling the set, controlling the changing of the set. Each script demands its own use of time. A farce moves quickly and lively. A drama, more somber in pace, slower. The rate at which the actors move is related to time, and the direction in which they move is related to space. Imagine this: running quickly away from a character. That suggests something, but then slowly walking away from a character. That also communicates something, but something different. Both are using time and space. In dialogue, we use time such as rapid pace, choppy pace, slow pace, sluggish pace, and all of that provides subtext to what's happening to the character on the stage and in the mind of the audience. Entrances and exits have a component of timing. They must be just right or the play flounders. Imagine entering too early or missing an entrance entirely, and see how that changes the rhythm of the scene and breaks the flow of performance. So a theater is just a black box frozen in time, but it provides directors and actors the ability to control the time and the space, and thereby communicate meaning to the audience. And you must move and speak carefully, or you change the meaning of your work. So in a sense, the theater is extremely demanding. And when performers work diligently together, they can create the magic of a theatrical production. We are here tonight because this little theater gave us space and took our time to celebrate the strengths and frailties and joys and sorrows of being human beings. That's why we love it and feel a sense of loss. Yes, grieve for our little theater, but also be thankful. We had this space for our use. Seaholm will have a new theater with more convenient attributes and more technical services. But more importantly, it will be a space where the Seaholm community will spend time together to learn, work, and enjoy the theater arts. And you can take the spirit of this little theater with you to the new theater right now. Close your minds, or at least imagine, sitting in the audience or acting on the new stage with the same feelings, same thoughts, same actions that you have experienced in this space. Now, in your mind, move all of that with you and see yourself in the new space as an actor or an audience member, and you will have taken the spirit of the Seahome Little Theater to its new home. Remember, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. Let me suggest that when you enter the new theater, for at least the first time, maybe more, but at least the first time, clap for it. Seriously, cheer for it. Even if you enter by yourself, because you know it will, for years and years to come, give you the time and space needed to perform our art. One last thing. Let us thank this trustworthy little jewel box for bringing us together for over 50 years. And how do theater people express their thanks in the theater? We clap, we cheer, and sometimes we even stand up and say bravo. Please take a little moment here to look around you at this space. Join me in saying thank you and goodbye to our little theater as it makes its final exit. Bravo, bravo.